Hello again, it's Simon. I thought I'd start this weekly series where I go over orienteering techniques that I've used over the weekend, or that kind of thing. So, in this case, I'm going to go over bearings because it's up at Fusilier and I use them a lot. So, first of all, what is a bearing? A bearing is just a fancy way of saying I want to run that way. It's a bit more technique to make sure you do it accurately, but that's the basics. So, when would you use a bearing? You'd use a bearing when you've got a particularly vague area of terrain, like start to one. There's not much here to see as you run through. Navigate off, or you'd use it when there's some stuff that you just need to ignore. So as an example of that one would be 2 to 3, where there's all this sort of detail here, but for the first half, all I need to go is I'm going to the road. So I can just ignore lots of this stuff as I'm running and just make sure I'm running in the right direction. So, how do you use a bearing? So what you do is you line up your compass and your map. Map, compass, boom, make sure they're both lined up north. And then you find which way you want to go on the map, and you just go that way on the ground. So, map, compass for start to one. I'm just going to follow the pink line, which means I go that way. It's that simple. So once I've identified that I want to use a bearing, the first thing I do is I have a target. So you always should have a target when you're going for a bearing. And that's just an object when you're looking for when you run that says that's what I'm going to. So in this case, for start to one, it's this hill system here that I'm looking for, and that means if I end up to the left or right of it slightly, I can see that and go towards it. I would recommend against using controls, except on the very shortest of legs, because controls are hard to see. So leads me to the second thing, which is when I'm running, I'll use stepping stones to let me know I'm on the right track. So, for example, for start to one, I'll see this track here and this track here as I'm running. And so when I hit those, of course, I can know which way am I going. Is the track going north? Is it going west? That kind of thing. So am I here or here? But even just more than that, just hitting those means that I know I'm in the right place, or I'm on the right track. But yeah, the other things I'll do is I can look around. So maybe I'll use this hill system and this hill system here, or that hill and this hill system, and that lets me know if I've gone too far to left or right, or even maybe I'll use something behind the control if it's particularly obvious, lets me know I'm running in the right direction. But again, I'll always have that target. The other trick I'll use when I'm doing bearings is I'll actually, point. So map, compass, I'm going that way. I'll make this whole arm motion, and that helps me visualize the way I'm going. So I'll point, and I'll find something I'm actually pointing towards. I mean, in this case, the camera, but maybe it's like a bush of cutty grass or a fallen tree or something. It doesn't have to be on the map, it just has to be something that's distinctive, that's in the right direction. So you run to that, and just before you get there, you'll find another thing in the right direction behind it. You run to that one, then that one, then that one. And that keeps you on the right track. And so maybe you always step left round trees, but if you're going directly towards something, you need to maybe go left, right, rather than just left. But the other thing all you need to do is recheck your bearings. So if I've got a longer leg, often I'll actually start drifting off to one side, usually to the right, and so I'll actually start drifting off this way. If I don't recheck my bearing, I find myself in weird places. So every so often, just recheck my bearing. Oh, I'm going that way. Okay, I need to turn this way a bit more and recorrect. And that's the basics of bearings. The second thing I'm going to go over is a technique called aiming off. And so what aiming off is like taking a bearing, but you aim to miss, which sounds kind of productive. But if you deliberately know you went too far to the left, then you need to go right. So if I'm going for this track, for example, if I am too far to the right, I just need to turn left. A really good example of this is control 11 to 12 on this map. So we'll just scroll up and across till I find it. Here, I'll take this bearing from 11 to 12 because it's a whole of nothing. My target in this case is this track here. Ideally this end. But if I was to aim straight at this track end and miss, so I can draw a sort of circle of the various bits I could hit it. And so as you can see, if I end up in this section of that circle, I'm going to have a problem because I'm just going to keep going and end up down here. Whereas if I was to deliberately aim to the left a bit more, so rather than trying to aim directly on the pink line, maybe I go a little to the left, and so my bearing will end up more like this. And then that means I can shift that, and so I'm more likely to end up here, because if I aim deliberately off to the left, I'll always hit this track, and I'll always know I need to turn right at the track, and then I can figure out the course from there. So that's the basics of bearings. I hope this video has been useful. If you'd like me to go into more detail on future videos, or just make it shorter, please, Simon. let me know in the comments, or anywhere you could normally contact me, or contact Paul and he'll send it through to me. Either or, all those work. But yep, thank you for watching this, and see you next time.